in the NFC East.
I'm going to eat some food tomorrow, I'm telling you that.
You've been dieting a long time. Time now for Say What? Les Miles was officially introduced as the new head coach for Kansas football Sunday, and I guess you could say he was at a loss for words at the opportunity. Say what?
The opportunity to get out and do community enhancement and be involved with, you know, be involved with the many things.
Listen.
Man, I'm glad he's back in our lives, man. He gonna eat some grass. He gonna win some games. Go for some bizarre fourth downs. Les Miles, good football coach, see.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how you're going to recruit in Kansas.
Mark Mangino won there. Got Aqib Talib, got Chris Harris. Went to an Orange Bowl, beat Virginia Tech. Like, Kansas football is one of the worst Power 5 programs in the country, but they got a real coach now.
Well, let me tell you what they didn't win. They didn't win the press conference.
No, they did not.
What were you going to say, Jenna? Could you relate right there?
Yeah, I was going to...
That's the way you are every day, speech.
I know. I was going to say, let's do some stories to start your morning. Also, I can relate. Absolutely, so I feel for him. Brought to you by the unexpected energy of ExxonMobil.
Should have brought up breadsticks, Jenna.
MVP, I already did it. That's once a year. MVP hopeful Todd Gurley had a quiet Monday night, finishing with just 55 yards on 12 carries, no scores. We learned he was dealing with an ankle injury. See, how important is Gurley with the display we saw Monday night to this team?
Oh, he's important. I mean, he's the table setter for a lot of things that they did. Now, you don't know those as a defense till after the game. But if you look at that play action, man, they thought he was healthy.
Right.
You know, so as long as he's in there in the NFL game, he can hurt you. And also, late in the fourth quarter, you can see they ran an outside zone. And he hit it like it was 95 going north. So I know he was gimpy earlier in the game, but Todd Gurley is still a special player, even a little gimpy. They can't function without him.
No, and your point is exactly correct, that they knew he was gimpy, but they still used him as a decoy as if he wasn't.
Yes.
And maybe late in that game when they needed the one first down and they ended up calling 3 pass plays, maybe a fully healthy Todd Gurley, they give him the ball on first down. See if he gets some 6 yards.
And they did that off of play action, though. So at least they utilized him that way.
All right, moving on, Bears quarterback Mitch Trubisky is also playing through some pain, with head coach Matt Nagy optimistic Trubisky will be good to go against the Lions Thursday with a shoulder injury. See, how worrisome is it for the Bears if Trubisky isn't healthy?
Well, for one, you're talking about a shoulder, and you're talking about a young quarterback who's been inconsistent. Now, they run a very, very exciting offense. I'm excited to see them on the national stage. They're versus the Lions, but inconsistency is a part of what he does, and now with the shoulder, I believe this is the type of thing as a young player, even if he's not great, just the overall toughness of playing, he can win his teammates over. So even if they know you're not 100%, but know you're out there with them, you earn a lot of points and stuff with your teammates. So I expect him to be continuing this playoff contention, but I expect him to win over some folks. I expect him to play in this game.
And they, in this past week's game, used him as a running threat more than they had all year.
Oh, he's a good athlete.
He has the second most rushing yards of any quarterback in football this season. So him, I understand this in a lower body injury, but him being less than 100% nursing something is something to watch. They do have who I believe is the best backup quarterback in football in Chase Daniel if they need him to start a game at some point in the year, but they need him if they're going to make a playoff run.
Well, I see you put best backup quarterback.
Okay. He's the highest paid, best. I think I like Chase Daniel.
Okay.
Eagles wideout Golden Tate has just 7 catches and just 67 yards in his 2 games since joining the team, with Philly's offensive coordinator saying it has been challenging trying to fit him in. See, why is that?
Well, because you've come up, you feel the pressure of the organization because the general manager has made the move. And of course, they come to you and typically ask you, hey, we can get Golden Tate. Would you guys like to have him? Yes, but once you get him there and trying to feature him with some of the other players you have, I still need to get Nelson Aguilar the ball. I still need to get Alshon the ball. I still need to be able to run the ball. So, yes, it is a challenge. But, hey, Mike Groh, that's why you're the offensive coordinator. It's a normal challenge. Every coordinator around the league has challenge. That's a good one, though, because Golden Tate, You can throw the ball sideways and get it to him. You can run reverses, speed sweeps to him. It's not that difficult, Mike Grove.
It's also, though, not surprising that of all the players added during the season or at the deadline, the ones that have made the most instant impact have been defensive players. Demaryius Thomas had one big game, one really big first quarter with the Texans.
Yes.
You had Amari Cooper at the game where they tried to force him the ball and ended up working against him. Golden Tate hasn't really gotten off and running yet. A lot easier to fit in defensive players, particularly pass rushers, but even Eli Apple has been helpful for the Saints in the secondary. Yes. The offensive guys, a lot more work to get them fully involved in the offense.
All right, the Chiefs-Rams Monday night offensive explosion was the must-watch game of the season, unless you're a fan of defense, with Texans all-pro safety Tyrann Mathieu saying the game was tough to watch as a defender. See, what do you make of Honey Badger's comments?
No, I feel Honey Badger. Honey Badger's right. There's a lot of defenders, a lot like him, especially he's an elite defender, because they feel like in a game like that, they can make a difference to be able to slow an offense down. Now, he would love the chance to be able to, but also Honey Badger got Clowney, got J.J. Watt going to be chasing after, so those quarterbacks not going to have as much time. But, of course, as a defender, there's no way that you look at that Monday night game and you enjoy it, because you know every game you are operating at a deficit. You got the referees against you, got the rules against you. The way football has been changed now, that it's a huge advantage being an offensive player. The only thing that's saving you is late in the season in bad weather. That's when you're going to start to see these defenses come back and take advantages of these offenses. But in a good weather, in L.A. Coliseum, Dome, in New Orleans, man, you've got fair conditions. Yeah, they're going to light you up based on the rules that you have now.
Late in the season, bad weather and playoff officiating also could tilt things back towards the defense a bit.
Yes, they allow you to be more physical.
Correct. I mean, that's cross sports, really. In the NBA, we talk about it. In the NFL, we talk about it. The refs do not want to have a game littered with flags the way Monday night was in the postseason. So they're going to let you get away with a little more jockeying, a little more hand fighting. I understand what Tyrann's saying, but I actually think he would have had an awesome time playing in that football game because of the type of player he is. He's a safety who likes to blitz, you get after the quarterback, and he's a ball-hawking safety. Like, I thought this game on Monday was awesome from a defensive perspective because there were so many enormous defensive plays. 7 turnovers in the game, 6 of them forced by a brilliant defensive play. You had 8 sacks in the game, another half dozen TFLs. Like, there were big plays. Now, I feel like all of the good defensive plays were either a sack, a TFL, or a pick, or a turnover, I should say. Everything else was the ball going up and down the field. But Tyrann Mathieu would have done well in this football game.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the adjustments, and the players will get adjustments when they start getting better information. This offseason, Sean McVay, Andy Reid, where did they spend a lot of their offseason? College football. That's the reason why they run offense, because they had quarterbacks like that, and they want to be able to put an offense that's friendly around them. So as you start to see the NFL, they will adjust. And I don't believe that Monday night was the norm. I still believe that the standard in NFL is New England. And I still believe that the weather will have an effect in the playoffs. So, yes, we have seen numbers like we've never seen before, but I believe there's going to be a correction, and it's called weather. So I'd like to see how this is going to play out going forward.
All right, let's move on to the NBA now. LeBron James making his return to Cleveland again. This time he'll be wearing a different outfit. It'll be purple. It'll be gold. Lakers facing the Cavs tonight, and as expected, there is drama to be had, but this time it has nothing to do with LeBron. J.R. Smith recently saying the Cavs are tanking, and he's decided as a result to stay away from the team as they look to trade him. Nick, does the Cavs' disastrous 2-13 season so far this year prove that they maybe took LeBron James for granted?
I think it further confirms what we've known about this organization in every year of its modern history that hasn't involved LeBron James, which is that it's not very well run. They don't win games, they don't make the playoffs, and they don't do a good job organizationally of having any consistency, from retaining general managers to having consistency at the head coach to even committing to a plan and sticking to it. This offseason, they told their veterans, they told Kevin Love, we're trying to win right now. They told anyone that would listen, we think we can compete to make the playoffs this year, knowing that if they were to do that, they would lose their draft pick. They said, we don't care. We are trying to win right now. We think Colin Sexton can be an instant starter in this league. And what are they? They're the worst team in basketball. Pardon me. Go ahead, see. I got to.
The reason why Cleveland, it's just hard for us to try to understand what they've done because they've just been so bad without LeBron. Like, we've seen no organization in no sport with a star be so successful and be at the top of the sport, and that athlete go away and come back. And they still, the same result. It's amazing how similar the Cavs were before LeBron, which was also before Daniel Gilbert. And when they lost LeBron to Miami, all the things that Gilbert said, LeBron forgets about it some type of way. LeBron's better than I would have. You know, I wouldn't have never been able to forget that. He comes back, and ultimately, I'm going to tell you, I don't know how they won a championship. I don't know how LeBron beat Golden State. Like, because if you look at all the chaos and all the truth that's been brought out since LeBron has left, like what really happened, because all the time before we were blaming LeBron. Oh, LeBron made bad decisions here. Oh, LeBron's picking the players. And that was everything. That was further away from the truth. But now we know. We know LeBron. We know he didn't want Kyrie to leave. We know that he was upset about the general manager leaving. And I hate to say it, but, man, Daniel Gilbert, he has not. No one deserves to have a loser, but, man, he has not done well as far as owning a sports business.
Listen, I know you think that I'm sometimes a little too hard on Dan Gilbert, but the facts are undeniable that he lucked into LeBron James twice. He did nothing. He wasn't even the owner when they got the #1 pick. And then he was fortunate enough that LeBron had such a tie to Northeast Ohio, had such a commitment to that area, and had accomplished enough in Miami that he was a made man already, that he could take the chance to go back to a team like that, and he squandered it twice. And it'd be one thing if it was just a fait accompli. LeBron, if he won a title in Cleveland, was definitely going to leave and try to go on to another chapter. That was not LeBron's plan. When LeBron went back to Cleveland, he thought, A, it would take a lot longer than 2 years to win a title, and B, that he would retire there. But the moment Dan Gilbert got an opening to where LeBron couldn't exert his pressure, the 1 year LeBron was not a free agent in the summer, he went against everything he had committed to. And so he, in my eyes, forced LeBron's hand, and with some of the great reporting from the reporters on the ground in Cleveland, wanted his franchise back, wanted to take control back. But this is what I know about the Cavs. The year before LeBron got there, they won 17 games. The year after he left the first time, they won 19 games. This year, they're going to win somewhere 17 to 19 games. When LeBron was there the first time, he never had a teammate average 18 points a game. 18. His best teammate in his first 7 years of his career was Mo Williams. After that, it was Big Z and Larry Hughes. It has been systematic mismanagement. The only reason they were competitive the second time he came back was because they were so bad after he left. They got 3 #1 picks. One was Kyrie, one they could trade for Kevin Love.
Quickly, how do you think their fans are going to respond to LeBron being back?
He's the king. He is always going to be the king.
They'll always welcome him back.
He made them champions. All right, so that's one thing they'll always have with them. LeBron did that, and he fulfilled his part of the promise.
And I was at LeBron's last game in that building, right? He didn't get a hero's send-off because it was a blowout, it was the end. They didn't want to really acknowledge that he was potentially leaving. So I think it will be 180 degrees from the first time he came back 8 years ago, which was as intensely negative reaction as anyone has ever gotten. Can I say one thing real quick about the news you mentioned about J.R. Smith?
Yeah.
Listen, J.R. is going to be in the headlines this week for negative stuff. I just want to remind people, my pal J.R., 15 years in the league, 11th all-time in three-pointers, and that championship they won, if he doesn't hit those 2 huge shots in Game 7 to open the second half, they don't win that game. So JR now is in a different part of his career, but it has been a very solid NBA career with a championship and a 6th Man of the Year award, and I hope he catches on somewhere because it's not working out for him this year in Cleveland.
JR very much appreciates that. Okay, coming up, any chance the Eagles can